Welcome to I Am Simple Techie channel. This is part 6 of the video series Create a Dynamic Homepage for an eShop in ASP.NET Core. In this video, we will learn on how to save our index page to the database. I will show you how to maintain multiple versions of the index page in the database, and then we can load the selected index page version. Maintaining multiple versions of the index page will be very useful when you want to show a demo to your client or to your boss, and also it will be very useful in the time of running promotional offers and during campaign changes. Now let's see our index page. We have 6 row models and we may have more row models in the future. To save and retrieve all the row models from and to the database is a very big task. We may need to create a dozen of classes in the data access layer and can be very complicated and time consuming task. It may take a week to month based on your expertise level. And then you may also need SQL expertise for this project if you are writing your own data access layer, and this is where an ORM comes into play. One of the powerful and finest full-fledged ORM available in the market is Entity Framework Core. So I have decided to use Entity Framework Core for doing all the data handling tasks of our project. Entity Framework Core is an open source ORM framework for .NET Core applications supported by Microsoft. Entity Framework Core is also called as EF Core. Entity Framework is a lightweight, extensible and cross-platform ORM. ORM means Object Relational Mapper. Object Relational Mapper is a set of classes or framework which stays between your database server and your code. Without an ORM, we must write our own data access code for that data handling, which could be time consuming and error prone. We will be using EF Core for our project because Entity Framework Core is a very powerful and flexible object relational mapper. Entity Framework Core is Microsoft's official ORM, and Microsoft recommends to use EF Core for all ASP.NET Core projects. Entity Framework Core can be used in two ways: code first approach and database first approach. We use code first approach for our project because we already created some of the models in our project, and I prefer to use code first approach because code first approach gives more freedom and flexibility to concentrate on the business model and project goals instead of database designing. Let's open the project and look at the EF Core in action. Before we start, I would appreciate and request you to like and subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. Thank you. So far we have completed our homepage and it looks pretty good, and now we need to save the index page to our database. We are going to have SQL Server as database server for our project. In this case, we need to install 5 Entity Framework Core libraries. First is Entity Framework Core itself. EF Core is the abstract layer and we must have installed EF Core in our project. Second one is Entity Framework Core Relational. EF Core Relational is must for connecting to any RDBMS database like SQL Server, Oracle or MySQL. Third one is Entity Framework Core for SQL Server. EF Core and EF Core Relational will also get installed when you install any entity framework providers like Entity Framework Core for SQL Server. Fourth one is Entity Framework Core Design. This is must for creating objects like table, stored procedure, functions, triggers, views, etc. in the database server. Fifth one is Entity Framework Core Tools. EF Core Tools is needed to run migration scripts in the database. When you install EF Core Tools, EF Core Design also will get installed. So now we need to install only 2 libraries out of 5 libraries, that is Entity Framework Core for SQL Server and Entity Framework Core Tools. Let's install the EF Core for SQL Server. For that, first select Tools from the menu. Then select NuGet Package Manager. Then select Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. Then click Browse. Then search for the Entity framework for SQL Server. Entity Framework Core for SQL Server. This is the one, Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.SQL Server, 81.1 million downloads as of today. Select this and click here. Then the latest stable version is 3.1.8 as of today. Click install. It is asking for the changes. Visual Studio is about to make changes to this solution. Click OK. Then it is asking for the license acceptance. Click I accept. Okay, now Entity Framework Core for SQL Server is installed. Now we need to install Entity Framework Core.tools. So we will again search for the tools. Framework Core.tools. Click that. Then select it. Then selected. Click install. Okay. Then accept the license. Now both the framework got installed now. Now go to the Solution Explorer. Then see in the packages we installed only Microsoft Entity Framework Core.SQL Server and Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.tools, but that automatically installed the dependent packages. See Microsoft.data.SQL client and Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.relational. This we never installed, but once you install this automatically gets installed. This is the then after. Here also we did not install the Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.design, but once you install Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.tools, automatically this Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.design will get installed. I have created 5 easy steps to use EF Core in your project. Step 1. We need to create a context class which must inherit from the EF Core DB context. This is the class which will be doing all the data handling tasks. Step 2. We need to add all the models of the project to EF Core DB context class which we created in the step 1. Step 3. We need to connect the DB context class with the database. This has to be done through dependency injection in the configure services method of startup.cs of our ASP.NET Core project. Step 4. We need to create the database using EF Core migrations commands. We do this in the NuGet Package Manager console. First, we call the add migration followed by the update database command. Step 5. Add the instance variable of the EF Core DB context class in your code to do all the data handling class. This variable can be either in the controller class or repository class if we use the repository pattern. Okay, that's it. Let's see the steps in action. Okay, now we will create the DB context class. Right click the demo eShop, then click add, new folder, then name it as data. We will save the DB context class inside the data folder. Then click add, then new item. We'll name our class as eShop DB context. eShop DB context dot cs. Now the class is created. We need to inherit this from DB context. It is not showing here because we have not included the Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. So we need to include the Microsoft.Entity framework core. Now we will try to inherit this. Yes, now it's coming. DB context. Create the constructor method. This constructor should pass the DB context options to the base class. So we'll pass it. DB context options. Then we need to pass the type. eShop DB context. Then we'll put the variable name as options. Then this is a base class constructor, base of options. Let's add the index view model, and we'll tell the EF core to save this in a table named home pages. Then get set. Then we will add our notice row model, and we'll tell EF core to save this in a table named notice rows. Now the step 2 is done. Now what is step 3? Use dependency injection to connect the DB context to the database in the configure services of the startup.cs. So we will go to the startup.cs. Now I am here in the startup.cs of configure services method. Let's add the DB context. First we need to add services dot add DB context. Then the type is eShop DB context. That's our thing. Okay, eShop DB context. Then we need to pass the options. Dot use SQL server. Then we need to provide the connection string for the SQL server. So we'll enter the connection string. Server is local DB. This local DB is the SQL Server instance created by Visual Studio. When you install Visual Studio, it automatically creates a SQL Server instance called local DB. We'll use this, but I have a proper SQL Server in my machine, but we will use this for the development. Local DB MS SQL local DB. Then database. We'll give a name to a database as demo eShop DB. Then trusted connection equal to true. That's it. Okay. Now the step 3 is completed. Before going to the step 4, we will see the SQL Server Object Explorer and make sure that it exists. Yeah, our DB server exists. Then explore the databases. There is no databases available as of now because we haven't created it. Now we'll go to the step 4. What is step 4? Step 4 is create the database using the add migration command followed by the update database command of EF core tools in the NuGet package manager console. So we'll go to the NuGet package manager console now. Click tools, select NuGet package manager, then select package manager console, then type add migration and give a name to the migration. Create database created. Then press enter. Okay, now the database is created. But if you check in this, the database is not yet created. Okay, then what it does, it has created the scripts, two scripts to create the database. So the scripts are ready, but database is not yet created. So we will create the database. I'm not interested in seeing the script. It will be little complicated, and we are not interested in seeing that one now. See, and then now just type update database, update database, and press enter. Will succeeded. It's creating the database, so it will take little time. Okay, it's done now. Let's see here, refresh it. Yeah, now our database came here. So now it has created. Let's explore the created database. So it has created three tables. Basically the first table is system table, EF migration history. This is for the EF core. EF core stores all the migration details in this table, so we are not interested in this table. Let's see our table. It has created two tables for us. One is home pages and the second one is notice rows. When you expand the home pages table, it has two columns, index ID and notice row row ID. Okay, this is the foreign key of this table. Then it has created some keys. Then in the notice row, it has created three columns, row ID, CSS class, notify text. This CSS class is basically coming from our smart row model, and notify text is the property of the notify row. Okay, this is done now. Let's see the structure here. View designer, view data. It has only two columns. Index ID is a primary key and notice row ID is a foreign key. Likewise, in this, it has three columns. Row ID is the primary key of this row, and CSS class is from our smart row model. Then notify text is from the notice row. Okay. Let me show you elaborately why it is created only two tables. Okay, because in the eShop DB context, we have specified only two tables. Where is it? Yeah, DB set home pages and notice rows. This two becomes the name of the tables, home pages and notice row. Then in the index view model, we have two property, index ID. This index ID I have given key. Since I have given key here, okay, so it becomes the primary key of the home pages. If you don't specify the key here, EF core automatically creates a column in the name ID and make that as the key, but we don't want that to happen. So we have specified our column name as index ID, and that index ID will be our primary key. Then notice row model. In here, this notice row becomes the child object for the index view model. Notice that notice row has a property accessors get and set. This is the mandatory requirement for the EF core. If you want to convert your child objects into tables of the database, then your child object should be in this form. It must have the get and set accessor like this. It should be in the form of property variable. Example, if this and all is not in the form of property variable, these are just variables. I purposefully made like this because I don't want to create all these things now. We will go step by step. Initially, we will first going to save only the notice row model in our database. Once we know how to save the child objects and the parent object into the database, then we'll go to the other child objects. This is our notice row model. We have already seen this in the part 2 of this video, but since we are going to save this into the database, I'll just explore the properties of it. Okay, it has only one row ID property. Again, it is a primary key. We specified key here only because if you don't specify anything here, then EF core will automatically create a column called ID, and that will make that as the primary key. We don't want that to happen, so we have created the row ID here, and public string notified text. So this also becomes a column here. And the CSS class. The CSS class is not present in our notice row model, but our notice row model is inherited from the smart row model. So if you open the smart row model, that has only the one property, public string CSS class. Okay, so this CSS class becomes the column of the notice row. Okay, now we will go to the step 5. What is step 5? Add the instance variable of the DB context class in your code to do all the data handling tasks. Open the home controller and add the instance variable. Private read only, then eShop DB context underscore eShop DB context underscore input. Okay, now added the instance variable. Now we need to create the instance variable, but in ASP.NET Core normally you don't create any objects. Okay, everything will be given to you by the dependency injection. So we want to change the constructor of this home controller to support this. What we will do, we will delete this iLogger interface. Instead, what we will do, we'll ask for the eShop DB context is equal to context. Then here eShop DB context equal to, let's put this as a context. Okay, is equal to context. Now we will add the method to retrieve the retrieve the index view model from the database. Index view model get latest home page, we will name it as. Okay, then first declare index view model IV model equal to new of index view model, then if eShop DB context dot homepages dot count equal to 0. I mean there are no records in the database. On that case, we will load the default values. Load default values. Okay, then else int mxid equal to is equal to eShop DB contacts dot homepages dot max of p dot index id. So we are fetching the latest record from the home pages. Then we'll populate the latest. eShop DB contacts dot homepages dot where of p dot index id equals max mxid dot first or default. That's it. Then we will return the IV model. So the get prop method is created now. So this method will get the latest home page from the database. Here, instead of giving the empty page, we will give the latest home page. Model is equal to get latest home page. Let's save the project and run. Since there is no home pages present in the database, it loads the default home page. This is our default home page. The whole objective of this project is to save this home page in the database. Okay, now let's write a code to save the home page. I mean, we are going to save only the notice row first. Then after we will save one by one. We will write one more method to save the home page. Private void save home page. Then the input parameter is IVE index view model IV model. Then here context eShop context dot add, not eShop context, underscore eShop context db context dot add of IV model. eShop db context dot save changes. Done. Then we need to call this in the controller method, because this is a private method. Private method cannot be called from the outside. So we'll create a one controller method, I action result of save home. We will keep this as save home. Okay, no problem. Save home, the function name is. Then here index view model is equal to new of index view model dot load default values. Then save home page of then we need to pass the model. Then after redirect to action of index. That's it. Then we need to insert return before this, before the redirect to action. That's it. Now it's done. We'll compile and run it. Save home. So now the default page is loaded. We will call our method home/save home, because it is inside the home controller. So we need to specify home/save home. Entered. See, now it's saved. But what happened to our default index page? All contents are gone. Only header and footer is here, because it has already loaded from the database. But we cannot see no content here. Why? I will explain you. First, we will check the database whether our content is saved or not. Right click the home page. Click view data. Yes, it is saved, index ID and notice row ID. Also, we will right click the notice rows, view data. Yes, this is also saved. But why it is not loading? Because by default, entity EF core will not load the child entities. There are three methods to load the child entities. One is eager loading, the second one is lazy loading, and then explicit loading. Let's load our child entity notice row using the eager loading method. In eager loading, we need to specify the include method. Then we need to specify the collection name also, which we want to load. I mean the entity name, child entity name. This is the child entity name. Now we already loaded it. Let's save and run the project. See, now it has come. we have loaded the notice row text successfully from the database. We can also save, we are also able to save to the database. Likewise, we will also save the what you call single image row. Then after we will move to the repository model. We will also save the single image row model into the database. For that, we need to do some minor changes in the single row image model. First is we need to add a primary key to our single image row model. So we will add a property of type integer, and we will name it as row id, and then we'll make this set to private. Then we will add a attribute key. Then that's it. We will go to the index view model to convert this into a property variable. We will bring this up, then we will copy this here, and paste it. Okay, now we need to add the single image row in the DB set. Where is the DB set? DB set is in the eShop DB context. Here we will add the single image row model. Single image row model. Let's name as single image rows. Single image rows. Then we need to go to the NuGet package manager console, then add migration, we'll give a name as single image row added, then press enter. Migration started, migration succeeded. We need to update this to the database. Update -database. So this is also done now. Let's refresh the tables. Yes, we got the single image rows also. Let's see, there is no data by default. Okay, now what we'll do, we will run our project, and save the default page. Save home/save home. Yes, it's saved, but again single image row is not loaded. Why? We need to add that single image row also in the collection using the eager loading. Let's see that in action. See, if we check in the table, it is already saved. It's there, but this is also saved. But it's not loading. Only notice row is loading, single image row is not loading. So what we have to do is, in the home controller, we need to include single image row also. Single image row. Now I have added single image row also using eager loading. Then we will run it. Now the single image row is loaded. This is the advantage and disadvantage of the eager loading. In the eager loading, you need to specify what are the collections you need it. Example, if you need to load 100 collections, if it is a big row model, then you need to include it 100 times. this all the rows you need to enter it here. In our case we have around 5 rows now. See, carousel row, notice row, single image row, triple column row, double column row. So then we need to explicitly say that we need this row, we need this row, we need this row, we need this row. This is okay for 5 rows, but if you have 20 or 30 models inside a model and your architecture is complicated, on that case the eager loading is a little looks little complicated. On that case you can use the lazy loading. I will tell you how to use the lazy loading in the next video. With this, part 6 of this video series completes. I would appreciate if you like and subscribe to the channel so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. I am putting a lot of efforts to make this video. In the return, I would request you to like and subscribe to the channel. In this video, we learned how to add EF Core to our project and how to run EF Core migration scripts to create database and tables, and then we learned how to create one-to-one relationship between parent and child objects, and then we learned how to create and read records from and to the database using EF Core. In the next video we will learn how to save the remaining row models, and we will create a repository pattern class for our data handling and move our data handling task from controller to repository object. And then we will see what lazy loading method is and what are the benefits and drawbacks of using lazy loading method. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.